Assalamu alaikum, my dear students, and welcome back to your online classes again. Hope you had a wonderful Eid time and you enjoyed your vacations. This Eid was a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after the Ramadan, but this was filled with sorrows too because of the plane crash and the COVID-19 situation. So we pray to Almighty Allah for the higher ranks in Jannah for all those who died in the plane crash, including one of our students. She was also there in that plane. So we pray that all of them may have higher and elevated ranks in heaven, and may all the families who suffered, they may be blessed with patience. So coming back to the subject, today in communication skills we are studying application writing and the job application and the scholarship applications. Now before jumping right onto the topic, it is necessary again to tell you the importance of this course, communication skills. So those who are doing physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, be it honors, be it special education, be it IT, you people may not be much interested in this communication skill and may be taking it as a minor course. But let me tell you one thing, that since I've been in touch with those people who just qualified their CSS examinations and they're very good seats now, so they're enjoying their positions, and all of them are of the same view that it is not your intellect that matters in CSS, it is your skill. So these skills like reading, writing, listening and speaking, they are the skills we are learning in this course, and they are the skills which matter the most in your CSS, PMS and all the competitive examinations. Because in those examinations you need to write very good, you need to read well, and then in interview you need to listen and speak well. So these skills are polished by your good self. There is nobody else who will come to teach you this. There is some motivation that is more from within than from without. So you need to motivate yourselves. Skill is just like your experiment, like we were just talking about the plane crash. Even the pilot was an experienced pilot, and he completed his flying hours. So flying hours is his expertise, his skill of flying an airplane. Your skills need your time, your patience, your hard work in order to polish them. So if you want to speak good, write good, listen good, read good, you need to give time to these skills. Whatever we are giving you through this course are activities and certain guidelines to polish your skills, but it is you who should think what and how much time you have to devote to your studies. So in today's session, you will learn about the job application and about resume, what is job application and how to complete job application form, the types of job application, format of job application, few samples of job application, and why do we write application for scholarship. So this video will answer all these queries and questions. So beginning with job application. So what is job application? It is a letter written for searching or seeking a job. It's called a job application letter. So whenever we are applying somewhere and we see an advertisement in newspaper, or we come to know it from internet or from some other source, we do send our CV to the particular institution or organization. So that CV is never sent alone by itself. There's always a job application letter with it. So that job application letter states your purpose. It briefly states something about you, and you tell in this that from where you came to know about the advertisement, about the job, about the vacancy. A job application letter, also known as cover letter, It is also called cover letter because it is used as a proof or as an evidence or as a document that is supporting your CV. So it should be sent or uploaded with your resume when applying for the job. So CV and resume are the same thing. So whenever you are applying for some job, you need to have a cover letter with it, which is also known as a job application letter. The job application letter you send to an employer explains why you're qualified for the position and should be selected for an interview. So this further tells in detail about you, that why should the employer select you and what qualifications do you meet, what experience do you hold, and on what position you've been working before. So all these things are mentioned in the job application letter that you are sending with your resume or CV to the employer. Remember, your job application letter is always a formal document which need to follow certain rules and certain specifications. So writing a job application letter is very different from a quick email to a friend or a thank you note to a relative. So writing an email to a friend or saying thanks to your relative, they're highly informal kind of writing styles. Whereas the job application letter that we are talking about is highly formal, and it tells about your writing structure and about your experience in writing the formal letters and applications. Hiring managers and potential interviewers have certain expectations when it comes to the letter's presentation and appearance. So they're very skilled in this. They have plenty of experience in reading and writing letters and applications. So they do know that what is a job letter and how it has to be written. So from length, which should not be more than 1 page, to the font style and size, and especially the letter spacing. So all these things count a lot in an official writing, which in our case today is the job application letter. So we should be concerned about the length, about the font size, font style, and the spacing between the lines. So we cannot mold these things according to our own wishes. For example, if I like Calibri font, so I will not be going with that when I'm writing an official letter. If I like a big font size, I will not be selecting that in writing a job application letter, because it is not about my personal likes and dislikes. It's about the norms, the official norms that we follow. So we need to know what those norms are, and we should be knowing about our managers and the interviewers, because they are well experienced in this field and they do know what should be the structure of an official letter or about a job application letter. Determining the length of an application, job application, we have already stated that it should not be more than 1 page long. So if you are going or using more than 1 page, it seems that you are writing everything about you in that, which is already written in your resume or in your CV. So you should write only 1 page, and the format of the application letter, it should be single spaced, and there should be space between each paragraph if you're dividing it into certain paragraphs. So it should be single spaced, and there has to be 1 space or a single space between each paragraph. The font style is traditionally Times New Roman. People do use Arial sometimes. You can use Times New Roman or Arial, but the size of the font should be 12. So 12 is the perfect size for the official documentation. So job application forms are the first vital step to reach the job interview, because it states about your experience in certain other jobs and your experience of documentation and the official writing structure and style. This step-by-step guide explains how to give employers information, what they need to put you on the short list. So, a cover letter along with the resume, they both make you shortlist, and they have enough capacity or they should have enough capacity in them to bring you to the shortlisted candidates. And it can, if you're writing a very good job letter and a very good resume attached with it. So whenever you are to complete a job application form, there are certain steps. So step one is preparing yourself. So in that, you need to gather all your basic information. That includes your personal details, and in personal details are your like your address, your telephone number, your age, your marital status, your complete name, your father's name, your religion, your gender, and your ID card number, and then your education, which includes all your testimonials, your degrees, your certificates, which also inform about your roll numbers and your scores in your particular degree that you are mentioning. Then contact the people you want to use as referees to get permission and to confirm the contact details. So whenever we get a good job application form, we always find a reference section in that. So it is concerned with that section where you mention certain people who know you, and if the employer tries to contact them, they can speak good about you. So they can be your colleagues, they can be your bosses, they can be the people in professional life who know you, and they should be very good people in their as far as their personal capacities or professional capacities are concerned, because they will speak. If they speak high of you, your chances of being selected for interview or job, they are maximized, because you have been working with or under those people who are professionally expert in their fields. And then think about why you want the job. Then you need to have a brainstorming. You need to think within yourself that why do you want to get this job. For example, we keep applying for all the jobs that are there, but we do not look at our bent of mind. So the bent of mind is very important. If you get into the banking and you're not interested in accounting, you will be in a great trouble. Or if you're not interested in teaching and you get a teaching job, this will also become hazardous for you. So we should be choosing the jobs which are according to our bent of mind, so that we can focus. A good job is the one on which we are happy, even if we are going on that job after vacations or even on Monday. So that is the best job on which we love to go on Monday especially. Then think about what you have to offer and what makes you stand out. So you should know your potentials, you should know your intelligence level, your creativity level, you should know that how good you can render to the company or institution, and what is in you that makes you different from rest of the candidates. Remember, there's so many people applying for that job. Why are you unique? So this all should be gathered by you. You have to prepare all those things about you, and they should be written as a rough work somewhere in your computer. So all this information should be saved by you, so you can apply anytime for any job. So you should be having all these basics information in hand, in your Google Drives, in your clouds, in your USB, or in your computer, mobile phones even. So you should be having a catalog or a record of all these things. So step 2 is finding out what the employer wants. So you should also know what is the requirement of the employer, what kind of a person do they want, and what kind of a work they want to be done by that person. Check closing dates. If possible, apply before the deadline. So sometimes we have a very bad habit that we keep waiting till the deadline, and then we are collecting the documents, and sometimes we realize that we are unable to apply for the job because it is the time is now very short. So we should apply for the job before the deadline arrives. Some employers start processing applications before the closing dates. And if this happens, that sometimes they miss out our application which is received by them in the last minute. So we should be taking very good care of the fact that we apply within time so that our application is well submitted. Or if you submit your application earlier, you may get more attention. This doesn't work every time, but sometimes it does work. So it is always good to work in time. So there's difference between in time and on time. In time means very much before the closing date, and on time means right on the closing date or very near to it. So we should present or submit our applications in time. So sometimes our application, when submitted in time, gets more attention. Read the job description and personal specification to find out what skills and experience they're looking for. And then have your own analysis. Do you have that personal specification, or do you have those skills or experiences they are looking for? So if you meet the criteria, then you should go for the job. Otherwise, you should not apply for such a job. Because if they want you to work on something you don't know and you apply for that, it will create trouble for them and for you too. So you should be expert in your job wherever you're applying. Now, step 3 is writing your application. Give yourself enough time. Writing a good job application is likely to take longer than you expect. So it is not simply sitting down, taking a paper and pen and write an application. It's very much complicated thing. You have to make several drafts for it to write a good application. There is always a room of perfection, remember. So you should draft your answers first before you start filling in the form or before you start writing an application. Make several drafts and then make a comparison which draft is better and which should be presented. You can only do all these things when you're working well in time. This cannot be done on the last hour, or in the last hour, or on the last moment, or at the 11th hour. If there is question that does not apply to you, write not applicable or NA in the appropriate box. For example, if they're not asking, if they're not requiring an experienced person, and if there is column for your experience, then and if you're not experienced at all, then do write not applicable or NA N/A. This shows that you have considered the question, and it is better than leaving blanks. So it is better to tell them that you're not eligible for this thing. This thing is not applicable to you because you've just earned your degree and you're a fresh graduate. Make your answers relevant, interesting, and personal. Your aim is to write your own interview invitation, so you want to stand out. So you have to write in such a way that your job application becomes an invitation for your own self. So it has to be interesting, it has to be relevant, it has to be really very good, that stands out. So you need to be making sure of the fact that you write very good and very impressive job application. Remember, whenever we are, as a teacher, we are marking the papers, we are more attentive towards a question that is unique in its written structure and as far as the theory is concerned. So whenever you are presenting better ideas about yourself and how you are able to deal with their company and how your skills can help them, you are surely to be getting an interview call, because uniqueness is always attractive and it is appreciated by the people. Then final checks. Spell check and proofread your application. If possible, ask a friend or a career advisor to check it too. So if in a case you don't have any career advisor who can advise you better in your career, you need to ask your friend to write it, to read it on your behalf, and in this way he will be able to check the spellings, the grammar, and he will be making a proofreading of your application. So you need to be working on this, especially this is one of the mistakes that we do, that we're not taking care of the proofreading. Remember, it doesn't matter how good a writer you are. Whenever we are writing, our mind is writing faster than, or our mind is working faster than our hands. Sometimes we do commit an error. If that is not a mistake, that is an error. So to avoid that error, we should be reading that, and we should be making people read our application so that there is no room for mistake left. Then check that you have included everything you have been asked for. There is always a checklist, so you need to be going through that in order to see what you have missed, or what all the things they demanded are attached or written by your good self. Keep a copy of your application so that you can go over it before the interview. So if you're called for interview, you should be having a copy of your application in which you have written certain things about you. Sometimes some interviews, they take very long, they take up to 1 year. Sometimes you get an interview call after 2 years. So we sometimes forget what we wrote in the application form. So we should be having a copy of that, which we can use when we are getting an interview call. So there we can be using that application, and we can remember what things we have written about our skills and experience. So that can work out. Then there is a job application checklist. So there are certain final checks that you need to make before you send your application. So first of all, you should check that are your personal details accurate. Is there any mistake in your spelling, or in your home address, or in your telephone number? Because eventually sometimes you get the call on your home address, sometimes on telephone, and sometimes through email. So we should be very much sure about these things. What mistake we commit is that we write a phone number and then we change the phone number. So the interview call is lost in between somewhere. Have you spelled the employer's name correctly? So this is quite sensitive matter. If you spell the name of employer incorrectly, you will be in bad waters or deep waters. That will be troublesome. Or have you filled in all the fields? Is there something left by you, or is there something which was necessary that you could not fill? So you need to be looking about all those things, because sometimes it happens that when you're filling an online form, there's always an asterisk against all the necessary fields that should be filled. Sometimes they don't ask you your blood group, so there's no asterisk after that. But after your email, there's always an asterisk that shows that you need to fill it. Then, have you provided any documentation or identification, for example, the scans or attachments that they asked for? So if you're sending a hard copy of your document, you need to give a photocopy of your document there, which should be duly attested by grade 17 officer. Or if they are requiring you to send the scanned copy of your document, so you should have the set of documents ready with you. As I was mentioning in the first slide, that you should be having those with you in the form of photos in your mobile phone, or in your Google Drives, or in your iClouds or Cloud Drives. So those things should be ready with you all the time. Whenever you get a document or degree, get it scanned and put it in all the places you want to save, so that even if you are away from your house, you can apply for any job, or even if you have to send a hard copy of the document, you can get it printed from somewhere. And then finally, have you kept a copy of it? So as we were talking about that, keeping a copy is good. Sometimes we get a very late interview call, and saving a copy is always a good thing. There's certain types of job application. So if you're looking for a job, how will you apply for that? It depends on the employer. A job application can be completed in several ways. In some cases, simply submitting a resume and cover letter online will be considered as your application, and you will not always be required to fill in a digital application form. So you simply attach your resume and a cover letter, and that will do, or that will serve the purpose. In many cases, though, digital applications will require you to input your data directly into the system, while frequently providing you the option to attach copies of your resume and cover letters as well. So some companies are doing this. Like I would say most of the companies nowadays are doing this, that they are having digital application forms in which you write everything in the online form. You attach everything there. They give you proper places where you can attach your documents. For example, if you're applying for your degree attestation in HEC's office, you must have gone through this process, I bet. So then you must have gone through this process too, where you must have attached your identity card, the front and back of it, your all documents, so you know it, that how to attach the digital scanned copies of your documents in the online forms. So there are two kind of forms. One is in which you just send your resume and cover letter, and the second is in which you online fill everything. There are 1,000 sites where you can post your resume online and complete an online job application. Sometimes you can apply for online on job boards like monster.com or job search engines like indeed.com or rosie.pk, or other times you can apply directly on the company's website. So sometimes you put in you attach your CVs there, or sometimes you just go to their application form and you fill it online. So there's difference between both of them. Emailing job applications. So when you're using email to apply for jobs, it is important that all your communications are as professional as they would be if you are mailing a paper application. So the way we are concerned with the font size, style, and the drafting of a letter when it is in hard form, we should also be taking care of our email and its structure and its documentation. And the paper job applications, so there are paper job application forms that you fill out if you apply in person for a position, and we'll see a sample job application form in this video too. So there's difference between paper job application and email job application. So in email, you are writing whatever you could have written on the hard paper, and in paper job application, you are writing practically using your hands, and you are presenting that paper your own self for that position or for that job. Let's talk about the format of job application letter. So first of all, in a good job application letter, there should be a heading. A letter of application should begin with both your and your employer's contact information, that is your name, address, phone number, email, followed by the date. If this is an email rather than an actual letter, include your contact information at the end of the letter after your signature. So there's difference between both of them. And then salutations. So salutation is addressing someone according to the position of a person. Like this is your polite greeting. The most common salutation is Dear Mr. or Dear Miss, followed by the person's last name. Find out more about the appropriate cover letter salutations, like including what to do if you don't know the person's name or are unsure of a contact's gender. So in that way you have to be tricky, and you can even write Dear Mr. / Miss if you're unsure about that thing. If some person is a doctor, so you can write respected doctor or dear doctor. So the norms are changing from country to country. So you need to be focusing in which country you are sending your job application letter, and what is the norm of addressing each other in the particular country. So you should like do according the way they do, like do at Rome as Romans do. You need to follow this criteria. Then there comes the body of the letter. So body of the letter is a section in which you write everything, like it contains the detail. So think of this section as being three distinct parts. So in the first paragraph, mention the job you're applying for and where you saw the job listing. The next paragraphs are the most important part of your letter. Remember how you gathered all the information about the employers were seeking and how could you meet their needs. This is where you will share those relevant details on your personal experiences and accomplishments. So first part of or first paragraph will always be mentioning the job you're applying for and the ad you saw. Where was that ad? Like a person told you, you read it somewhere, or you read it in a newspaper, or you read it on some website. So you will be mentioning it in the first paragraph, and in the second paragraph you will be writing about your own details, that how good you are for them and how can you support their company, their organization, their institute. How can your skills help them? So this will come in the second paragraph, and there will always be single spacing between the paragraphs or between the lines too. Then comes the third and the last part of the body of the letter, and that will be your thank to your employer. You can also offer follow-up information. So here you will be saying thanks, like you can state like this, that I'll be very thankful if you select me or consider me for this job, or thanking you in anticipation. So these kind of thanking remarks can be used by you in the third and the last part of the body. And then comes complimentary close. So you sign off your email with a polite close such as best or sincerely, best regards, followed by your names or yours truly. So these expressions suggest your etiquettes and your politeness. So they are very good expressions. They should be used by everyone whoever is writing a job application letter. And then comes signature. And with your signature, handwritten, followed by your typed name. If this is an email, simply include your typed name followed by your contact information. So in case you're writing it on a paper, then or typing and printing it, then your name should be printed there and you should manually sign it. And if it is in case of an email, then it should be your typed name and then your contact details like your phone number, your email address, and your institution where you're currently working. Or if you're not working anywhere, then you should leave it blank. So this is an online job application form. So you can see that how we can fill in that. We can see there's a red asterisk after full name. It means we need to be writing the full name. So first name is the first part of the name that you use. The middle name, if your name has 3 names in it, and the last name like Muhammad Ali Akbar. So Muhammad is the first name, Ali is the middle name, and Akbar is the last name. Current address and the permanent address, they are always different. So current address is where you're living, where the postage can reach you, where the letter can reach you easily. And then you should state your city, your state, province, and then your postal zip code. You can type on Google your area and it can tell you about your zip code, like 54000 is the zip code of Lahore. You should write your email. It is also necessary because there is an asterisk. And then your phone number. You should write your area code and phone number. Then you should select the position. So one company may be giving certain different positions, or they may be wanting certain different people for different positions. So you should carefully select your position. That is also mandatory, otherwise the form will not be filled. And then coming down, you can write the start date of the application, and then you should upload your resume. So you should select your CV where it is found in your computer, where you have placed it or saved it. And this is a short job application letter for the teacher. So here you're writing about an application for being a teacher somewhere. So the principal, Lahore Learning Alliance, Defence Lahore. Subject, application for the school teacher job. Respected sir. So now you can see that in the first paragraph you are mentioning that how you came to know about the job application or about the job situation. So I'm writing to show my interest to serve in your institution as a Montessori teacher. I saw your advertisement in the newspaper and found it that our job requirements suit my eligibility. I did my MA M.Ed from Punjab University and did Montessori teaching diploma of 1 year from Education University. I've experience of 2 years teaching in a private institution. So here you told your purpose, and also you told where you got the information about the job. And then you come to your capabilities. I have capability to work harder and I tend to do my best in this field. It would be my privilege if I am selected here. Enclosed is my resume along with my work experience letters. I hope that my application would be considered. I look forward to hearing from you soon. So you can see that the font is Arial that is used, and that there is single spacing, and there is the font size is 12. Then the third part is thanking. So you wrote thanking you in anticipation, which is also good. And then you sincerely and the contact number. So in case if it is an email, you will be writing all these stuff. And if you have to print it, you will be signing. You will be leaving some blank space between your sincerely and Aisha Shah, the name. And in between you will be signing, you will be writing your signatures. So then it will be a complete document. You will be attaching your CV or resume with it, and you will send it off. So in this way, this job application is complete. So why we write applications for scholarship? This is another thing. So a scholarship is proposed to help a student with the cost of his studies. A scholarship application is written by a student who is from an unprivileged background and needs support for their academics. So all those people who cannot pay their expenses, they want to get scholarships, and they also go through the process of writing a scholarship application. A scholarship application letter is important to enable the selection committee to choose a suitable candidate for the funding. So there has to be one committee that is offering some scholarship, and if they want to fund someone, they find a suitability, that which candidate is the most eligible, and they come to know about it through your application letter. Now there are certain tips while writing application for scholarships. You should read about the funding organization, because the organization that is funding you has certain criteria. So if you read about the organization, you come to know about those criteria that are required by the company. Mention your motivation for applying for the scholarship. Now you should also mention your motivation level and your talent for that, because you need to convince them that you are the fit person to be given scholarship. They have so many people who are applying for the said scholarships. So you have to mention the potential reasons for which they should select you. So this is where you can write it. Then provide support documents like academic degrees to your application. So for example, if it is a merit scholarship, then you should write or attach all those documents which are reflecting your good academic records. And if it is there are certain scholarships which are need-based scholarship or financial assisting or assistance scholarships. So, for that you need to be submitting certain proofs which tell that you are the deserving person and you need to be given certain scholarship to carry on with your studies. And then write a letter in professional and polite language. Your letter should be written in professional language that we have already discussed before, and it should be polite too, that should be showing or reflecting your etiquettes, your mannerism and your politeness. Describe your aim to gain this scholarship, that why do you want to get this scholarship or what you will do if you acquire the scholarship. So, you should be giving substantiate reasons here, like as we were talking about that we should have a unique job application letter. In this way we should be having a unique scholarship letter too that should be reflecting our aims. Then describe why are you a suitable candidate for the scholarship. So, again you have to be creative and unique in this field. You should write in such a way that they select you, that they have no reason left to deny the scholarship to you. So, you should be very creative and talented in writing this section because that is the most important section. Mention the education and career goals. You should also mention that what you're likely to do if you are done with your scholarship and studies, what are your future aims that you want to achieve, and keep the content formal and clear structure. So, it should be clear, easy and a formal structured letter. So, you should take all these facts in your mind. This can be a good scholarship letter. So, for this you can pause the video and you can read it. So, this is explaining everything that I have already talked about before. So, I hope you understood the application, the job application process and the scholarship letter or scholarship writing application process. Stay tuned and wish you all the best for your further video lectures. Thank you.